Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science DC Comics podcast, episode 620. And isn't that like some time when they people do weird things? 620, right? Hey, everybody, I still feel like crap. What about that? How's that sound? But we have the show as we always do, though. There is going to be some weird things coming up in the next couple weeks, and I might as well explain a little bit about that now, because next week, which will be, holiday weekend kind of thing, the weekend after Christmas, we'll have a show that normally would have a ton of books. It's weird. DC seems to be releasing a ton of books this next week and then not releasing a single book the following week. Now, that usually is kind of odd from the get-go, but lo and behold, that second week, 2 weeks from now, that is a Patreon-only week because it is an annuals week, but DC's decided not to do anything with it. So we're trying to figure out what exactly we are going to do. I think that what we're going to do is we'll have the books split in half, where some of them will be on the show next week, with two of them also being on the spotlight. It's a mess. It's a complete mess. So I'll just let you know that in a couple weeks, the last week of the year, it is an annuals week, a fifth Wednesday of comics. That'll be a Patreon-only show. And whatever books end up kind of divided, those will be on that. And you can end up listening to that show by going to our Patreon, patreon.com/weirdscience. Now, what does that mean in the here and now? Well, not much. In a couple weeks, it will mean something. But it's also the idea that there are two books each and every week on our Patreon as our Patreon spotlight, our badass Patreon spotlight. Two books picked by the badasses of the Get Fresh crew. And this week we talked, and I say we, I mean me and Simon, and then me and Jared. It was DC KO Harley Quinn versus Zatanna, the KO fight issue by Leah Williams that I thought was going to be a lot wackier and zanier. It seems to me that she just didn't have her heart into it or whatnot to make it as zany as well or wacky as she usually does. And I have said over and over, I don't think that Leah Williams can write very well, but it's never boring in my mind. It's always just bat crazy. This wasn't that, and it kind of threw me a little. And then me and Jared talked about Wonder Woman number 28. If you listened last week, I made the proclamation that if you are a fan of Tom King, you're not a fan of comics. Maybe that was the Nightwing talk. No, it wasn't. That was me talking. I still agree with that, but you can hear us talk about that as well. And to listen to those two books, you can go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/weirdscience, as I said already. Now, in the meantime, again, the next couple of weeks are going to be very wacky, but they always are around the holidays. I remember a couple of years ago, well, it was quite some time ago, it was the end of the New 52, actually, where on the holiday season, and this is when me and Eric did the written reviews. Eric was the only one who did reviews because the only issue that came out, I believe, was the Darkseid War finale. I think it was. It was the Justice League Darkseid War finale. And boy, Eric was mad that he had to do a written review and I didn't have to. But that was in the past. But the holidays get really wacky. I just don't know why they front-ended the stuff. I'll talk about it later with Dr. Matt. I don't know why they decided to put all the books on the week of Christmas and not just done either split them up, obviously, or put them more on that week of New Year's, because I think that, New Year's is one of those things. It's a holiday, but it's more of, that New Year's Eve, let's drink, get drunk, whatever. It's not like a lot of people having family over and things like they do in the Christmas week, in my mind. Maybe I'm wrong because I don't drink. I also thought 620 was something, so I'm not into that stuff there. But in the meantime, we do have 4 books for this episode. Probably one of the shorter episodes that we'll have in a bit. In the meantime, too, I ended up where when we put some things on YouTube, and I don't necessarily make that much, well, it's sad to say, make an effort to put the stuff up. What goes up are things that automatically go up. I have it set where when we put out a podcast on the DC side of things, Podbean, that hosts the deal, they will automatically, they'll publish the episode on YouTube. The problem is that they have a limit, that it has to be 3 hours or less. I don't know that limit hurts anybody but us, because we'll go a long time without having an episode under 3 hours. Last week we did, and lo and behold, it went up. And we have some people comment then of like, oh my God, you finally got back to the DC Comics podcast. I'm like, we do not skip a week. It just wasn't up on YouTube. It's always on the feed, obviously. But I think this one will go up as well. So welcome back, everybody. We still do a podcast. We still do the DC Comics podcast each and every week. Again, I'll just shout out to those people. If you do enjoy the podcast, maybe check out the podcast feed where you can listen to us each and every week. And lo and behold, you get on the YouTubes. You might like the YouTubes, but really, there's not that much of a difference between listening to it on YouTube or listening to it in some sort of, podcast player. So just go get the podcast player. You can listen to your heart's content with everything going on. One of the other things this week that we didn't have, and I tried, and me and Gray tried. Gray will say that he tried more than me, and he might be right. Me and him have both been sick, so the Absolute Show has had a bit of a stall. We are still planning on doing the Batman episode, Absolute Batman, from a couple weeks ago. At least I am. I don't know. Gray might be mad at me. We ended up kind of playing phone tag a bit with it, and I ended up having to go do a Sus Records deal, and I think he was upset thinking that I chose Sus Records over him, which I would never do, but we'll get to that. We will get to that deal, and me and Gray also have some stuff that we do on our Patreon. But again, if you want to listen to more than just the 4 issues on this show, you can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/WordScience. Go to the Spotlight, DCKO, Harley Quinn versus Zatanna, and Wonder Woman number 28. Now, we'll get to this. I know this sounds like a lot of commercials, but we'll get to a shout out. This is part of being the badass levels of the Patreon. You get to be a badass of the Get Fresh crew, and you get me butchering your name, as I always do. This is the shout out, the roll call for the badasses, and I have to find the page now. I thought I was set up. We have Edward, Hawa, TJ Freeling, Andrew in Belfast, Eric loves me, you, everybody, don't mention it, David Fink, Jack Halsey, Brandon with an O, Nick Russ, Trevitt, Tom Johnson, Dan Smith, Jeffrey, Leonard Greek, the Big Z, the Mark Claire Show, the Annihilator, Ted Probst, I Love Punchline, Stork, Drunk, Matt, Dr. Razor, Phoenix, Rising, XL21. I'll go the full deal. Phoenix, I'm sorry, still, it bothered me all week. Felix, I said. Niels, a T-Word. Niels, I was watching a bunch of videos on Christmas, what were they, like Christmas crazy things going on in Germany? What do they call them? They had booths and stuff, and everybody was eating brats. I know I'm going to have to hit the song again. Stephen Baum, Jason Colby, Sue42, to you and me. Ken Alec, Comic Boom Rocky. Mark Jager just came back from France. Ooh la la. Ruben, 2 more. This is never going to end. Here we go. By the way, Niels, there's these things. They're like, what are they? I was going to call them Christmas conventions. Christmas something. I don't know. I was watching a bunch of them. This one guy actually reminded me of Niels, too. Sexy guy. I got to go back here. We'll start again with Ruben. Ruben, 2 of Marv. Matthew Rapier. Me and Matt were talking. I hope he's doing good. Luke Hollywood. Don't even know if he's alive. Simon, drunk. Luis, good guy. Manship, another guy that I would love to hear from. He has ditched me. Swanee, Josh Vermillion, Batman Beyond Mark, B. Muir, that is Brandon with an E. I am coughing. Right now I'm having problems. He's in Canada, Buffalo, Canada. His Bills just barely beat Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. They should be very, very ashamed of themselves. And Double A Run, doxing his ass in Minnesota. I'm going to have to get out of this intro. I'm about to just start coughing in a crazy way. So I'll give a shout out to the all-time greats, Reginald Drinkwater, Rob Lewis, and the pour one out for our homies. He's MIA. He's also ERIC. That is Eric. And that is it for the intro. I am still having problems, I think. But we're going to get to the books. It's me and Brad talking a little bit of what is left over of the KO week with Titans. Then we get to that Nightwing, and you'll see I'm not a big fan of Dan Waters in general. I'm not a fan of his Nightwing, and he's going to be continuing, and I don't get it. That book stinks. It stinks on ice. And then me and Matt, and we realized Matt has become the de facto Superman guy. I did end up saying, like, he's never once said to me that, like, hey, Superman's my favorite hero. He did say that, indeed, Superman is his favorite at DC, so it all makes sense. So we'll get to the books right about now. We'll just get right to them. Thanks for going through that intro. That was a wreck. That was a trouble. I give that intro an FU5. I don't have it. I thought I still had the sound. I give that one a Reuben. A Reuben out of Dan
right
Stransky.
Here on Weird Science.
That is a new rating. But with all of that, we will go right now to me and Brad talking a little KO. Yes, we are heading for a KO. I will say, you mentioned in our little chat that the lyrics aren't quite jiving anymore.
No.
But are they?
No.
Because most of the people I do mention in a song that I made before any of the issues came out, I think all of them are kind of still involved. I mentioned Vixen, Jason, Guy Gardner. Do we have any of that? Yeah. Is Guy still in it? He's going to be fighting Jay Garrick. Yeah, so I think I'm on to something.
Who's Vixen fighting?
Or not, you know what? I was thinking Vixen, and I mixed up Vixen with Satana. That Vixen in the song actually does
they're
show.
So much alike.
Yeah, they're lame. You end up where you do see that that was before, because Vixen ain't even around. So with that, though, we got Jason.
Hold on, though. Why did you, I got to know, why did you pick Vixen and Jason Todd to pound?
I just made that up. I just made it up. I thought that
Jason
was kind of horned up, and I needed something to rhyme. Then I needed pound. There you go. I just thought it'd be funny. But yeah, so we have this whole KO tournament. It's really going balls to the wall, I guess. I don't hear anybody really talking about it. And where I said to Simon this week again in the deal, because we ended up doing the Zatanna and Harley issue, is the idea where I'm not seeing anybody say, "Oh my God!" Yeah, we kind of mention a little, but I don't see it like out and about. Of man, I want Harley to win because she'll change the world to this, and I want this. And I mentioned to him that maybe we could have had, if it was that interesting, we could have had afterwards a what if? What if Harley won? You could see what the world was, but I don't think they really spell it. I don't think anybody's really thinking it out. I don't think Leah Williams is sitting there like, man, if Harley won, she'd do this. She mentions in that book that everybody would have big boobs or something. That's just, that's the level that we get to. But we do have another fight book. It's Cyborg versus Swamp Thing in the Titans number 30. And that's kind of a cool setup, machine versus nature, that sort of thing. It doesn't really get there. And what we're getting a bunch of these. A little tiny bit. Yeah, but at the end, what we're getting is, it seems to be the play now of somebody saying, I think that Cyborg would be better off than me. Harley kind of did it with Zatanna. Harley, at least.
I've noticed the same thing.
Yeah, Harley was kind of pumping up Zatanna, trying to get her almost in a weird way of how they're doing Superman, of like saying, hey, you got to be mean, you got to do this, start shit talking. Yeah. It didn't really play out as well as it should have. It wasn't as in your face as it should have. But at the end, it's like almost like, thank you. Now go yes. Win. Even with that, though, I still think that what you would be doing is saying, hey, Zatanna, I think you're pretty cool. You might be able to take out some villains, so you're better than me. But, boy, we got to get Superman to win the shit because Superman's the best and he'll do this. I mean, what does Harley legit think Zatanna's going to win? Does Swamp Thing legit think that Cyborg has any chance of winning? We'll see.
I don't know. It definitely seems a little weird. I mean, the Harley Quinn one made a little bit more sense, right?
Yeah,
this idea that Harley's not going to be beating Superman in a fight, no matter what Tom King thinks.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But Zatanna stands a chance, right?
Yeah.
So that one kind of made a little bit of sense, but I don't know. This one here, like, why Swamp Thing would just be like, go do it, Nightwing.
Yeah,
go do it, Cyborg.
It came out of nowhere then, right? Yeah. Like, they're fighting. And you didn't even have that play because you're not really privy to anything with Swamp Thing. It's going all through Cyborg, and it's more of inner monologue at a lot of the times. And, it's just like, if you think that, then, and also the weird thing is, if you win, right, you have to win your 2 rounds. If you go like, Swamp Thing wins 1, he has a little bit of the Omega, but then at the end, you're supposed to get all the Omega. It's like, it gets a little wonky to me overall with exactly what's going on. And then I have a thing where I'll mention with Darkseid as well. But if you're going to go with the route of, I just want Cyborg to just die twice, just don't even try. Like, why are you trying until that point? To then say, and he says, I'm testing you. Well, if you got to test them, I don't think you're that confident. So here we go, though. This is one of the better ones, though. I mean, it has been, the Titans book at least has something going on besides the fight. While it's not that great, at least it has something. I don't know. None of them are great, but here we go. It is Titans 30, and it's the all-fighting month, Cyborg versus Swamp Thing, written by John Layman. Pete Woods and art and colors, Bruno Abdias on inks for some of it. I guess it kind of goes there, but I guess Pete Woods does some of the, I don't know. Wes Abbott on letters. Very weird that you're like, inks on pages 9 to 10 and 17 to 20, but no other inker, so I'm assuming it's Pete Woods. But
it must have been Pete Woods.
It's odd why maybe he got, delayed and they had to, hey, ink this shit there, Bruno. Marquise Draper on editor, Brittany Holzer on senior editor. Well, lovely. Taking selfies, probably. I say it all the time. So with this, though, just if
has she always been a senior editor?
Yeah, I don't know. It all goes back and forth. Like, here she's a senior editor. The other thing, she's a senior, having everybody, sign her yearbook, I think. And then other times she's just taking selfies. If you don't know, the Titans will be changing up after KO. It'll be changing to New Titans, and it's going to be Tate Bromhole writing, which I'm not looking forward to because I think he sucks. Me and you have dealt with a couple things of his specifically that Green Lantern Dark. That was kind of a wreck. But
it was a bit. It wasn't horrible.
It was odd.
It had some good ideas. The execution was a little lacking in some parts.
Me and Zach deal with the Batgirl, which started off like not great. It was on a train a lot, and I said one of my favorite. Yeah, even then, remember at the thing where Cass was reading the body language constantly. Danger, tension, and all that, and that led her to think a guy who needed to take a shit was about to attack him. One of my favorite things of all of
you never
all
stopped, I don't think you'll ever stop talking about that.
I love that so much that she's like, and the guy's like, I wanted to take a shit. He completely ditched that because it did nothing, and then ditched any sort of semblance of story and cohesion. That book is a fucking wreck now, and when we end up doing it, me and Zach do it, it just happens that it's always out. Now it won't be because it's with Birds of Prey. Two of the worst books. It was the worst. But yeah, I don't think that
you guys liked it for a little while there.
Yeah. Oh, when you ended up having Cass's brother, you kind of changed things up. You ended up having Bronze Tiger. Things changed a little. We're like, okay, this is good. To then just go wacky again. And that book, I assumed it was going to be ending. It isn't. There's more things with that, and I just don't see it. I think it's one of the worst books that DC's putting out. So, especially now that Birds of Prey is over. But so I'm not looking forward to it. But maybe it'll be one of those that it's a book that Tate Brummel will do well with. Everybody has a book that they're good at, whatever, I hope. But he's already like changing shit up. It looks like a weird team show. It's fun. Just so people will know that this is kind of the last hurrah of John Layman through this whole KO story. But in that, again, you end up where Cyborg, we saw him go off through the portal to say, woe is me, I'm going to go off and I don't know if I'll live. Kind of lonely going off there. That loneliness is something John Layman's definitely pushing because Swamp Thing kind of mentions it. It affects Cyborg for a bit to then have Cyborg realize, I'm not alone, I'm a Titan, and I could do this. Though at one point when he changes into this ultimate version of him, it really should have been more of a visual that he's kind of combining into a whole Titan attack machine.
Right.
You know what I mean? It didn't hit me until the Eskrima sticks were flying. I'm like, oh shit, he's doing all the attacks. Right? And I'm like, man, you should have really played that out better. That he's like, oh, I'm never alone. I'm a Titan, so I'm going to take this form. But
I mean, I got it right away. He's like, oh, I'm shooting star bolts and black magic energy, and I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, it took me the Eskrima sticks,
which are ridiculous.
Yeah, just stupid.
He's like, what am I going to do to represent Nightwing? Oh, I shoot Eskrima sticks.
Yeah,
whatever.
like weird.
But no, you're right in the sense that like there's no visual representation in the way he looks that looks like the Titans in color scheme, or like when in World's Finest when they did the Batman Superman hybrid thing, like something to look the composite, something to look like it. That would be kind of cool. Instead, he's just like a giant kaiju robot.
He looked like a Shogun warrior to me. It's what he looked like. Like the deal. That's what it looks like. It's weird, right?
Yeah, he looks like it could be that. What was that movie with the giant robots versus the kaijus? What was that thing called?
Oh, the Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim.
He was a Jaeger. Weren't they called the Jaegers?
That's what it was. Yeah.
I didn't see the movie, and I know it. End up here with a cool cover. Some of the covers have been cool, but you end up where, okay, machine versus nature, cool. You have Cyborg going. It's all through Cyborg, so you kind of get that he's going to win. But in that, I was worried or wondering the whole time, okay, are they going to mention that it's Levi? Are they just going to go generic? They actually mentioned, I said in a weird way, I read the one bubble, I saw and then I had to walk away for a second. I'm thinking to myself, man, they actually did, say it was Levi. That's cool because it is supposed to be Levi, I guess. And then I come back and it's like, or are you Alec Holland? I'm not telling. I'm like, yep, you did nothing. So it's very generic. And again, I thought that
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I thought that what it was going
to
be is like all of a sudden it's Alec, and like who knows? It doesn't seem. Now here's the other thing. With these solicits that just came out this week, the March solicits, not all of them have come out as we're here. There's still a couple still left to come out. But what I saw doesn't seem like as much of a change as I was hoping or wanting. So the idea, you know what I mean?
A lot of the titles are continuing, with the numbering, which is really, really stupid.
I know that some people collect and whatever, they don't like the renumbering. But go with a economical deal. You need to get new people in, and new people come for number ones.
We know there's a big spike in sales with number ones. If you know that as runs go on, then the sales decline. So you have to start higher, which means you start with a new number one. It gets people on board. It gets people excited about the relaunch. There's a whole bunch of, it's like DC is so incompetent. I think somebody said in the Slack, it's like they're allergic to money. I swear to God.
Yeah. It's
like they don't know how to run their own business.
Marvel's the house of idea, and DC is allergic to money. I ended up where I would argue with Eric about it, because Eric was so self-centered. Like, I would say nobody knows that a new run is going on in Batman and Robin, and I know. I'm like, I don't give a shit if you know, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm saying everybody. And so this is my big play. It's not even just the idea. Number one, really, the idea people want to say you want to read comics. You can't give them obstacles, because most people who go to read comic, like, it's like, hey, I kind of would like that. One obstacle, they're done. They don't need to, like, it's not like there's going to be people who will go through anything to kind of figure it out. But most people are scared to ask questions, especially like if they did actually go to a comic store. But now with those even fewer, you got to figure it out your own. People don't know. You get online and you say, oh, when should I start reading Flash? Well, you should read it the first issue. You don't want to deal with that shit.
No, you're going to get 75 different opinions.
Yes.
And like, look, in the entertainment environment that exists in 2025, you can't have any barriers to entry to engage with your product. There is an endless, infinite amount of content for free on YouTube. There are video games that you buy once or never even pay for, and you play them forever. Like, there's Netflix, which has infinite content, HBO, there's so much competition.
Yeah. And people don't like
eyeballs.
To look like assholes and be called jerk because they just ask. Here's the thing. I'm saying Eric's like self-centered, but I wouldn't be here right now if the New 52 didn't start with number ones. And it wasn't the idea, the legit deal where people are like, oh, you just liked it because, like, they think that a new number one has to change continuity, a reboot like that. I didn't even know what continuity was. I saw a new number one, so I knew where I should start. That's it. Yeah. That's the only reason. I didn't know who Kyle Higgins was when I picked up Nightwing number one. I didn't know who Jeff Lemire was when I got that crazy Frankenstein Agents of Shade. My first book was Aquaman. I didn't get it because Jeff Johns. I didn't get it because I heard, ooh, this is a definitive run, or he doesn't. No. I always say, I never thought Aquaman was a joke. And I got it because I recognized the character, and it was a number one. And I got it, and I loved it, and I started getting every other one. And even then, I didn't have to ask anybody to say, oh, well, I got this Aquaman. Where do I start with this book? I started at number one. Now, I say that. I started a year late after. I did grab a couple of those Zero issues thinking they were that screwed me a bit. That's a whole different deal. But I started at the beginning and was able to read almost every book in the New 52 starting from issue number one, and knew that I was going to be able to at least understand things by.
And how was the New 52? How did it perform?
At first,
it was an exceptional success.
Yeah, it was huge, and people will argue this through the deal. It fell apart by the end, but everything does. Sure. Again, that's why you need number ones.
Exactly.
Deal, right?
Initially, it was a huge success because you did this big reboot, this big relaunch. Anybody could get on board. It's all new number ones, and people could just swing by and grab it or pick it up digitally or whatever. Right? Like it's so obvious. It's so Rebirth.
I was going to say, talk to most people that listen, and you say, when did you start? New 52 Rebirth are going to be two of the bigger ones, because that was, oh man, they're starting new with number ones. I know what to do then. I can go in. Now, this is the thing. We're not talking about Marvel or even some of the things happening at DC, but what Marvel does and keeps doing and does every damn week is they will have a new number one they just did it with, they'll have a slight name change, but it'll be the same creative team. That's bullshit. That like the idea of having, they're going to yet again have like the fifth number one Moon Knight with Jed McKay writing. It's just that those should be arcs,
so
not
Marvel takes it.
They take it to the extreme.
They take it too far. But you know why they do that?
Because they make money.
It works. It makes money.
But what they do is a bit infuriating because then, well, actually, if you do it too much, then you run the risk of the people who are reading failing because they're like, oh, you're rebooting again with a new number one? Yeah, it gives you an idea of, oh, well, I don't really like this. This is a good time to go off. But if you do it right, and when you change creative teams, or even the idea you change creative teams and the whole feel of the book, there's no reason to continue in that numbering because it doesn't feel like it's even the same. But there's people right now just mad at us for saying this. But
those people
they're wrong.
Hey,
that's what they are.
If you disagree with this, you, sir, listener, are wrong. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
You heard me.
Well,
I said what I said.
Last week I told everybody if they like Tom King, they don't like comics. So we're going on our soapboxes. But we'll get back to this. But the idea about this, it's not even that much to talk about in this. One of the things that is a bit of a disappointment this week, you have it. Simon said he liked it, but the idea where we're going to have the second round, you have this first round. Let's see who wins. Oh my God. And this was a bit of a different one. I had said that almost every one of these, the one who ends up, and actually it does happen here. It's usually whoever loses in the first round seems to win the tournament, win the round because but not here. They kind of change it around. So in that though, the KOs aren't great in this. It's not like when we talk about the idea of like a slasher movie, you got to get a cool kill, or a video game, which this should be like. A lot of these kills, especially, I think it was the second one when Cyborg actually loses, like you barely even know that it happened. This one, you have the KO. Hey, I'm gonna blast him with this KO, and it just doesn't feel like it has much weight to it. Just doesn't feel
this
great.
One, this one, the KOs are very lackluster.
Yeah,
I mean, like so. The first one is what Cyborg blasts him with, like ultrasonic, like ultraviolet C specific spectrum of light. What is it? With fire, sonic cannons, and a blast of ultraviolet C light powerful enough to kill every bit of plant life from Seattle to San Diego. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty clever, and it looks pretty good. That one I was cool
but
with.
But then it's just like KO and he's done. And then the
next one. Well, the next one, then they're like, okay, choose your form. Cyborg's like, which was pretty cool. Like they had all these different versions of Cyborg. This is the thing
where I said, like, that's the second round. Second round is fashion show. And you're waiting for these really iconic things. They have kind of been made up where either you're realizing these people realize, oh, there's not that many iterations. I mean, you do see my favorite, which is like the leotard look, but it's so little in the deal, in this big thing, like that original Titans look where it looks like he's in a workout outfit with the spandex and his junk. That's the one that makes me giggle. But what you're doing now is it happened with Harley. Harley has pretty much two really big ones, the Harlequin and New 52. You didn't even use those. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have to have something, make it iconic or make it big. But what they seem to think is that's not enough, and they're making up shit now, which you kind of have in this. But that page at least is pretty cool. You have that.
Cool. They have like
I like
the
Tron one down in that corner, in the left-hand corner with the Mega Man armed gun.
Yeah,
that one's pretty cool. But but each one, there's I think the New 52 one I see right above his head at that one point. I think that might be it. But really, there's not that much of a difference. There's like the Rebirth one. I might be seeing that
classic New Teen Titans one.
The classic is my favorite. That's my favorite.
Then there's. It looks terrible.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. It's so stupid.
I feel like that blue one is represented somewhere. Is that a cartoon where he's got like blue shoulders and blue forearms?
That's the one that looks like it might be. I think that might be a adult-looking version of the Teen Titans Go. It looks like it with the shoulders and things like that in my mind. Maybe. I'd have to look again.
I was looking specifically for a Teen Titans Go one. And I didn't see it.
But that's what I wanted that. I actually was hoping he might choose that, though. I said where he's going through these iterations, you want to get a bit of, character work and things like that. I thought that seeing all these iterations would definitely trigger him remembering some past things with his father. And you can go with the idea that some people who are going to read this don't really know Cyborg. You kind of should, but this isn't a Cyborg book. It's a Titans book. And it's an opportunity to kind of give a little character work, but he does not even think about his father for a second.
We don't really do a lot with any of this. Like, we don't get much nature versus machine. We get it in round 2, which we'll talk about in a second. We don't really get much of, like, there's not really much of a relationship between Cyborg and Swamp Thing, so there's not really anything to do there. But you don't really do anything with Cyborg either in terms of, I don't know, like talking about these different versions of himself or his relationship with his father. Although, we've done that so much, it's kind of been done to death.
It is, but you would expect him to reference it or something, right?
Yeah, but or even just to
because his dad's dead right now.
Right. So so he could be doing this. That could be part of his motivation. I don't know that anybody else is going to bring Silas Stone back.
Yeah, they might not.
Sometimes he can be kind of sus. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, like, people, they might not bring him back. I need to do it because I need to make things. I need to make sure that that's right. Note, whatever.
Yeah.
But we don't really do any of that at all.
No, I told you, I actually thought legit that what he was going to do is he sees all these different cyborgs and he was going to actually see himself before, I'm going to do this as Victor Stone. I'm going to do it as a human. I'm going to do it back to what it is. Even have Hokey have him in his football outfit, his uniform, and he's like running through shit and doing stiff arms and stuff like that, but actually using this as an opportunity to, like, say, because it is kind of the machine. No, a machine will never beat this and whatever. And it's like, well, I'm going to beat you as a man, and did it. And it would be kind of a cool little concept. But what they want in this is a spectacle. So you're going to end up picking, craziness, which they do, which it didn't feel like when I'm reading it, I'm like, oh man, that's so Cyborg. Like, that's what I didn't feel that with Harley either, because these costumes, they end up, well, oh man, there's some, Cyborg says it. I recognize some of these, but man, I don't even know some of this shit. This must be multiversal shit. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't give you wow moments. That doesn't give you the, oh man, you got to see this. Like, I'm telling you, it's so goofy that original Teen Titans. I would have done that. I would have done that where, I'm telling you, he just looks like a luchador. That's what he looks like. Like, to cosplay as original Cyborg like that, you just need to spray paint a fucking leotard, get some boots and a half mask. That's it. It's not really that cybernetic. And it makes me laugh. But it also gives you a shout out to Mark Wolfman. You could add, like, stuff like that. But in the meantime, it's just costume change. To then go to Swamp Thing, he's like, oh man, never saw you look like that before.
Yeah, he's just red for some reason. I've never seen him look like that either. I don't know what that was about.
And that's the problem, is I don't know that a lot of people would even, if that is, would know. And so maybe the thing with this too is it shows some things, but also give us a little editor's note. See, hey, this is Swamp Thing was in this Len Wein's issues, this issue, and get people to say, man, that's cool. I want to see what that's about. Because when you see that, you're like, man, that's crazy. I never saw that. He's great. He's red. But yeah, you don't really do anything with it, right?
No. And then, he kind of blasts some stuff at Cyborg, and Cyborg's like, it's some toxic stuff or whatever. But, I don't understand why Cyborg just doesn't do the thing he did in the first round. Nothing about what Swamp Thing did, like, counters what Cyborg did in the first round. Like, he even said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, why don't you just blast him with ultraviolet light again? Instead of getting here blasting him with this other stuff or using a buzzsaw on your arm, like, you know what works. So, like, it would have made more sense if, I don't know, Cyborg shot him with some tree sap and it gunked it up and he couldn't change forms, and he had to fight him with his hands or something. Like, but we don't do any of that. We just
tube his ass to the sun.
Right. He just forgets how he won the first round and then loses because, like, to your point, Swamp Thing eats him and then digestive fluids destroy him.
It's not that great, right? That's not a great deal. If I would have sat and said to you, oh man, what do you think they'll have with Cyborg versus Swamp Thing? What would be the kills? And I don't think that there's anybody out there at this moment saying, oh man, which was your favorite kill? Like, that's nothing I would think of making a video for or a post, because what are you going to say? Oh, when Swamp Thing ate Cyborg? Oh, I like when Harley climbed up a bunch of fucking bookshelves and jumped off and for some reason hit Zatanna with the other side of her mallet and, like, ran her through. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing here. But none of them are real, like, great anymore. I'm telling you, one of the funniest ones so far is, and we talked about this on the Spotlight on our Patreon, is when Zatanna just hauled off and beat the living shit, just punched Harley so hard in the face, killed her. That was it. That was like her second kill, or the second kill in the deal. She just punched Harley so hard in the face that I said she caved her nose into her brain and killed her.
Yeah,
that was crazy. I'm like, hey, that gets shit done. It was probably the most brutal of all of them, because every other one is a cartoony comic deal. She just hauled off and killed her. And it affected her by the end. But we have this, and then you just have KO. There's some, but you're already fighting against the idea. We realize this is video game-esque. They're not really dead. We don't even know. Even by the end, these heroes,
which is why it would be helpful for the kills to be spectacular.
Yeah, it would give you something.
Give you something, because they're not real. So like, go over the top with it, do something crazy where we go, oh man, that was nuts. Like, really, the best one that we've had, honestly, was when Superman blew out the sun and killed Captain Atom.
That was the most actually clever. Maybe people would say Aquaman bending the blood of Hawkman was okay, but they didn't really. Okay. It didn't. I'll tell you, go back and look at it if you don't believe me. It didn't have a spectacle to it. It just ended, and you're like, what happened? Oh, and then you're like, oh, that's pretty badass. But it didn't really play out well as a spectacle deal. Yeah, the one was, and even at that point, if you remember, Hawkman was trying to almost do the same thing to Aquaman that Superman did to Captain Atom. I think that as of now, I would say that I think that Captain Atom one might be the best one. Aquaman was cool because it kind of just badass, kill twice, boom, gone. But I don't know. Like,
Aquaman wasn't fucking around.
These aren't great, though. So then we go to the interlude, the Justice League Lunar Evacuation Command Center. And this is where I said, at least they have something to do. And they're like, Arsenal and Donna Troy are there. Hey, Roy's drinking his coffee, probably spiked with H. Probably got the horse in there. She's like, is that cocaine or sugar? And he's like, yes.
I don't think you can just ingest heroin.
I don't know. I think you can. So you end up, didn't you ever have heroin coffee? It's crazy.
No, I've never.
No, that's legit. I mean, you think with Seattle, the home of Starbucks and heroin, it seems like at least heroin deaths. That's how it started. They got you with it. When they say about the idea that the Coke had cocaine in it, you didn't know Starbucks coffee had heroin, allegedly. End up where they called down to earth, and John's there, and he's like, hey, I'm evacuating shit. Pretty cool idea to keep these ships down. It is kind of a funny play of what he's saying is, hey, those assholes that said they weren't leaving, they want to leave now.
They want to leave now.
It's good that we left these things. Look at these jerks getting on there. You see fucking Mount St. Helens going off in the background and shit. It's bad. This is where I started thinking, though, because again, for the most part, this is the book that shows you what's happening on Earth. But does it matter? Like, legit.
No.
If the idea that Darkseid is turning Earth into a new apocalypse, either you're going to win the fucking tournament and change it, right? Or Darkseid wins and it's all fucked anyway. It doesn't really matter that much. But then I started thinking, why is Darkseid playing games? Like the idea, and this is what I'm going to ask you. At the end, the Heart of Apocalypse will accept the winner to then give them as much power that they'd have the Omega power to fight Darkseid. First off, I don't really know why anymore. Also, why didn't Darkseid just say, fuck all of this? Hey, Heart of Apocalypse, it's me. You love me. Like, it almost felt like you have to trick the thing.
It's me, your boy Darkseid.
Yeah, it's me, your boy Darkseid. Give me the Omega, like we would have anyway, and I'll make this Earth like it. Why is he's in Booster's body while all this goes on? It feels like a lot of games that he doesn't need to play. Like the idea he's won, but he's not.
Scott Snyder would say, you're overthinking it.
Yeah, well, I think that he might be underthinking it, because here's where I'll say he's underthinking it, because I don't feel like in this issue or a lot of these, we've talked about these, not having a lot of fun. Like, I could say, man, these kills
like
are
the main books enough.
I'm saying, though, the concept, though, he seems to think it's a fucking hoot and a half. And all I keep saying is, man, that wasn't a great kill. Like, the parts that you really have to dumb fun it up, they're not. Like, the kills. No. And so by the end, when you're sitting there and after all this nonsense where there's John's like, yeah, I'm getting these people off Earth. I'm like, I don't give a shit, because we're centering on the idea that if you see a lady going up, she looks like she's in a dress. If she slips and falls and dies, also, she looks like she's like Mary fucking Poppins. Look at this lady. If you look really close when she's going up, she's dressed like Mary Poppins. If she slips and falls and dies, I'm not going to be upset, because I'm hoping that the heroes survive and everybody comes back anyway.
Yeah, everybody comes back. Yeah.
So they're ditching Earth and almost making it seem like, man, I hope we see Earth again. Well, this Earth, you're not, because either you're all going to die, and this Earth is just going to be done, or it's going to be reset and you'll barely remember this. So it's just a weird concept of it where he's like, yeah, we'll get it. But I do like that these assholes that didn't leave, they want to get their fucking ass out. But then they come through.
Good thing we saved these ships for these assholes that couldn't believe it.
I mean, legit, at this point.
Now it's a post-apocalyptic hellscape, all of a sudden they're like, gee, maybe I should have.
Yeah, oh, God, you didn't tell us. Oh, yes, we did. Jerks. But even that, it's just a weird play. Again, like, you could just say, we think that the good guys will win, so why bother with this shit? Because we'll just reset things, but who knows? But,
do you think John Kent's going and like he's saying to everybody as they walk in, going, told you so, told you so, told you so, told you so.
I would like, hey, I thought you were going to stay in your fucking cabin over there. Like, it's on fire. So get out of here. But then he comes in with Leanne. And so this is a weird play. It's just to set up another book. And I did look, if people didn't know, the kids are all fight, which I thought, oh, that's kind of a funny deal, a little play even on the Who back in the day deal. Mm-hmm. But that was also a Simpsons episode. It's like every cartoon has had that title. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But that's going to be written by Jeremy Adams. So that might be pretty cool. Yeah.
I was not really interested in that book at all until you just said that.
I was actually thinking it was going to be first an anthology, and I was waiting for the list of unknown writers that were going to be on it. I'm like, oh, no, it's Jeremy Adams. So I think Marquise Draper on art is what I think I saw. But that's pretty cool. But they come in. You do have a little continuity tie-in with Cheshire and Cheetah robbed the Justice League. I never thought I'd see. But Leanne's like, hey, I'm here, Daddy-O, and Arsenal Royce says, yeah, you shouldn't have done that with the whole deal. I guess it worked out in the end. But in the meantime, yeah, he's like, you got to stay here. And he's trying to protect her, but he's being mean. And she's going to be the, I do what I want. And you have that. And then he's with Donna. And then at one point, it's weird. It's like, we're going to go and do this. You stay here. But then they're like, they could have handled this easily, but they didn't want him. And like, oh, but they'll live. I'm like, it was a weird play. It's just to get them together for that book is what it was. So it's fine. But then you end up at the end where Cyborg, and you're going to have the Darkest Before the Dawn, where Cyborg's like, woe is me. I'm by myself. He's right. We did set that up when he was heading off through that boom tube to go there. And then he realizes, oh, no, I have everybody with me, and uses that like Titans, Cyborg attack. The Eskrima sticks are stupid.
Yes. So dumb.
Deal with, which is worse, the Eskrima sticks of Nightwing or the unbreakable bonds that are the heart of the Titans family. Like unbreakable bonds, I'm like, oh, come on. But yeah,
that was
eye rolling, right?
That was very eye rolling.
It's cringy.
That was cringy. My daughter would call it the Sapatron 3000.
It is. That's really good. I think that I legit show her this and say that I agree with her. Then the Sapatron 3000 is this armor itself and should be called that from now on.
We're calling this version of Cyborg.
What's great? Just tell her this. It'd be great because it's also defeating Swamp Thing with something that has sap in the title. That is awesome.
Oh,
it works in so many levels.
It does. It's so many levels.
Oh, it's so good. So he does this, and then it seems as if Swamp Thing's like, it really, all these are. It happened in Harley. This is you passed the test.
You passed the test.
And it's always one of my favorites, but it's so sappy again. It's so ridiculous. It's like, you
so
did
cliche.
it. You did it. I needed you to realize you had the power of everybody in you, and go and do it, big boy. You can do it. And he's like, man,
the power
really?
was inside you all along.
Oh my God,
Cyborg.
yeah, that's all it was. And he's like, hey, you think you're timeless enduring? So is friendship and loyalty. He's like, what are you laughing at? You just passed the fucking test. And he's like, promise me, when it's time to fight Darkseid, you do it with every bit of ingenuity, heart, and perseverance that you did here with me. Promise me. and then do it. Cyborg, I'm waiting for Cyborg to see, like, you fucking really think I'm going to beat Aquaman, let alone Superman or Wonder Woman? Like, fuck that. I'm not, like, I am here. What you end up having, and I said this with Zatanna as well on the spotlight, what they are for, they're the cannon fodder to weaken the bad guys. That's all said. Like, you hope that Cyborg and Zatanna will be able to kill one of the bad guys they go against to get them out of the tournament. But there's no fucking way either of them, in my mind, have any way of fighting Darkseid. And if they do, it's troubles. It is real troubles. Now, with that, maybe, well, I don't know what happens once the world's destroyed, though, but with Cyborg's capabilities and the way he is, might be the best to put together the world again if it was something that needed to be done and he was able to, use all, like, hey, you know how he does it, internet and things, but would that still be around anyway when you're redoing the world? But he would be one of the better ones for that. Zatanna, everybody's talking backwards and I'm jumping off a roof. But he then says, I will, to Swamp Thing, and then just destroys him. It is great when he does that. He's like, I promise. And thank you, bro. And he said, it doesn't say booyah once, but ends up destroying Swamp Thing. I'm like, man, that's brutal. Like the idea, like, I will, now I'm going to kill you. And then he does. And then we go to the prelude or the epilogue deal that we've had these interludes where, again, they're nothing. It's Booster. And if you do want to know, you read this before the one in the Harley Zatanna. Booster ends up taking down World Forger, starts yelling shit as he has. It's the most, like, prolonged reveal that we've ever had of the, oh my God, like each issue, I think they're supposed to be like, oh man, I forgot that Booster was Darkseid. Hoo-wee, that's crazy. But at this point, you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're just waiting for, okay, so Time Trapper was taken down. I'm waiting for World Forger to do something. Okay, he was taken down. Now I'm waiting for Grodd to do something. Okay, then he'll be taken down. Like, that's all it is.
You're just waiting because you would assume that when you're going to have Darkseid finally go into the tournament, you want him as Darkseid. You don't want him as Booster to say, oh, it's Booster with Darkseid in him, because then that's another step and it doesn't look as cool. But we'll see. But in the meantime, if it is Darkseid's, like, I need bodies, I just kept assuming, especially with this, like, getting World Forge's body, that guy's pretty big. Right? Yeah. But he says then, I need the temporal deal of Booster. It's all nonsense. It's nonsense, but it just...
Oh, yeah, it's 100% nonsense.
It ends with that nonsense again, and then we go back to, this whole play of, hey, we're going to go down on Earth again. We're going to go figure out some stuff. We're going to see how we have to, finish this up with evacuation and stuff. And you end up where Roy and Donna go down, and then you get Grail. I'm like, okay, I like Grail. So not the Grail that we saw in Wonder Woman this week, cool. But you get Grail at the end. But it's funny because reading this, you kind of forget about the Grail ending because it's such a weird ending. She just blasts them, and then you have it. But it is something going on besides the fight. So you have something to do. And it says, next in Titans Apocalypse upon us, and then it continues Harley Quinn and Zatanna, which we were doing. But that's the issue. It's okay. It's what it is. These are fine. Like Simon will tell us over and over that you know what you're going to get, so you can't be that upset. It's what it is. But this was okay. It's always missed opportunities. I think there's always something in these that you're like, man, I wish they would have done that, or I wish they would have focused on that. But
it's one of those things where it's like, if you had, I don't know, a writer's room that sat around and started kicking around ideas on what can we do with this fight, you could probably do some fun stuff. And in a sense, I mean, that's obviously not what we're doing here, but it's kind of a similar idea. You and I are sitting here and we're taking a look at John Layman's ideas. We're batting around different ideas that you could have done. It could have been interesting. And, that's how you get something a little bit more. But they're not doing that. They're like, hey, John Layman, you have a fight between Cyborg and Swamp Thing. Go. Right?
Yeah, and I said this with the Harley Zatanna. You get that they're just told. Like you just said. You have Cyborg, Swamp Thing, Cyborg wins, don't ruin shit, go.
Yeah, and that's what and they probably have to put it together quick.
Yeah.
Because they've been writing other stories, and they got other things going on. So there's not a lot of thought or effort or care put into it. So, you're not going to get the greatest story of all time. You're not going to get an 8 or a 9 out of 10 for these books because it's not getting that level of effort.
No, it does. And there's a couple. I keep bringing up the Harley Zatanna, but it was the one this week again I even said it felt for one time ever, because I think Leah Williams goes completely batshit crazy every time she writes something. Felt like she might have been bored or just hamstrung and not been able to do anything, because that was kind of like, it just felt like going through the motions like this. I mean, it is like you're just waiting to see. You just need to know who won. That's all. And you could find that out other ways. But I guess if you're collecting them and liking them, it's okay. I also thought, too, one of the
There's
things...
There's nothing to hate about it.
No, one of the things I would have done, though, is the interlude. I think I would have gotten Dan Mora to do those in every book. I would have made that a specific art that was consistent with those, not just the artist who was doing the book itself, because I think it needs to look congruent through. And that Harley one looked really odd. And this looks fine. It fits.
This one's fine.
But I would have liked it to have been a different set style. And I would just go with Dan Mora because I think he's great. But with that, yeah, what would you give it?
Oh, yeah. This is a 6 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I think I'm a 5.5 or a 6. I could even go to a 6. It's fine. It didn't get me upset. It just didn't really wow me. But we'll continue with the next book that didn't wow me either. And me and you have really fallen off this. I haven't been really on it, but I have even gotten in arguments with people about Dan Waters' run on Nightwing, which I do think, and again, this is going to be one of those of, it's not going to change. You're going to have a change of artist. Dexter Soy won't be on it.
That's a big disappointment that we're not changing.
Yeah, and Dan Waters is going to continue, and I think that this has been a misplay since the beginning. It's been a wreck. And what you are now doing is, which is odd, you want to give it a new feel after KO. So you're rushing a story that already had problems to get to something with the same writer. That doesn't make sense. And also I think it did just continue the numbering, because why would you change it then if you didn't change it before? But it is Nightwing number, 133. My favorite character. I wonder what has happened with him. It's not even like, again, it's become a point where it's not, I don't even know. It's a nothing book. Like it's not like I'm going to say it's the worst book I read, but the whole concept of it is just, no, it doesn't do anything. It feels like he could legit wake up and say, man, that was a fucked up dream. And you wouldn't even bat an eye. And I think a lot of the shit will be like the idea that you would sit there at the end of this run and people are like, this is a memorable run. What's memorable? Which thing? Are you going to end up because it ends with the Zani? Is that what you're going to say is memorable? Or are you going to say that Olivia Pierce and Spheric Solutions and RoboCop? Are you going to say that it was the Teddies or the Clean Cut Crew or the Flyboys? Like, none of this shit's good. And it's all in a damn shit burrito. I am getting mad now. It's Nightwing number 133, written by Dan Waters, V. Ken Marion, friend of the show. He actually wrote and drew some of a couple issues with me and Eric in them. So that's kind of cool. Veronica Gandini on colors, Wes Abbott on inks, Dexter Soy on the cover, because he's off the book now. And you have Jessica Burry, editor, Rob Levin, group editor. And so how are you going to continue this? We ended up where it looked like Nightwing beheaded Olivia Pierce, the head of a big organization. The weird thing is she's the CEO of a corporation that's there. Also one that's working hand in hand, supplying crazy RoboCop tech to the police, so in with the police and all this, and you seem to play the idea. Dan Waters wants Bloodhaven to be against Nightwing, but he knows in my mind that this is the most fucking ridiculous thing ever, and so he wishy-washes it to a point where it makes no fucking sense. If you're gonna go full out, oh my God, Nightwing beheaded this lady, you better figure out a way to do that. If you're gonna say, oh no, he didn't, because legit but they're going to have to come and look. This is a crime that looks like it's been taking place. Whether it is a training experiment gone wrong, it still looks like somebody's been beheaded, or if they think that that's a training dummy, but you saw it moving. But the idea that something has been beheaded, it seems, you got to go check it out because that's horrific. But they don't seem to do that. They seem to want to push it aside, right?
Well, they just, so basically, even we said it last issue, but they show it here again, the beheading. And again, it looks like Nightwing's, 8 to 10 feet away?
Like, no. And then her head falls off.
And then her head just falls off. So, I mean, what are the people at home thinking? Are they thinking that, Nightwing all of a sudden has telepathic powers and is chopping people's heads off from afar.
Well,
like,
here's the
that's
thing.
Not his thing. It's never been his thing. Nobody's ever.
This is the problem. If they go, this is where he runs into a brick wall. Because if they do go, because you do want to clear Nightwing's name of beheading a woman, right? So when they go to do it, so it's easy to do. You go and see that this woman is a fucking zombie that's been dead. Who the fuck is going to believe? Like, you can't do, like, that's where he painted himself into a corner. You can't have them like because then if that happens, all bets are off. Now, you might think that Nightwing has supernatural powers when shit has gone so wrong like this. But you also have flyboys going around in jetpacks and shit. Like, none of this makes sense in anybody in the regular walk-a-day Joe and Jane watching the news. Shit's going wrong.
Also, like, why are... Like, I want to ask Dan Waters, why are we doing this?
I know.
It seems very, I mean, it doesn't seem like we're going to do anything with the idea that the city is against Nightwing, because the city isn't even against Nightwing, because they're like, oh, some people people don't really know what happened and it's weird. And it's like, yeah, it is weird. So why did we have this be televised in the first place?
I'll tell you.
What is the storytelling purpose?
There was one storytelling purpose, and it's bullshit. It was so that girl would see Nightwing do something bad, say, oh, did Nightwing kill that ladies? I'm going to go into the circus tent. That's what happened. Like, that's bullshit, right? So in that, like, the idea of all this, he does things in such a fucked up way for one little teeny grain of story that really isn't, to then ditch it, but then everything's piled up. This whole thing with, you have Maggie. Maggie's watching this. She turns it off. She's like, I've had enough of this. Like, what the fuck is she even thinking at this point? She just plays it off of, man, you ended up doing that thing with that Olivia Pearson. I had this airtight case against her and whatnot. I wanted Nightwing to say, she was a fucking zombie. Like, what fucking case? So you have all these things going, but none of it makes sense. So you have to just push it aside. They push it aside.
Yeah,
there's a beheaded zombie.
And like she was beheaded on national television.
Yeah.
People are gonna want answers right away. So like the police should be swarming this rooftop, seeing it's a zombie.
This is what it should have been. This should have been.
Nothing seems to be happening.
This should have been. There is legit at this point a bunch of helicopters circling. Well, not at the point when it happened. What did Nightwing do? Jump off the building? Walk away? Take the elevator? Like the police are surrounding them. What this should have been is that Olivia Pierce, it was a setup, and Olivia Pierce comes in, they're at the docks, right? And it's a videotape that is released to the public. Then you can play the idea, and they're like, we don't know if this was doctored, but it looks horrific, whatever. All this stuff leads to 80 different things that should be happening after this that aren't.
Well, and even if he was... Like, you could still have the police make an announcement, but then people don't believe it. They're like, I know what I saw. You can still do all that stuff, but we're not addressing any of it anyway.
But in fact, Maggie says in the fact that it seems like that she says, if they knew I wasn't arresting you now, but for what? Because are you investigating this? Because once you look into it, it falls apart. But in the meantime, why? It's
what's the point? What's the point of any of it?
He tries to make it more of the point, like he's really digging in with the shit. Where Maggie's like, I don't know how you could do it. Like Superman, everybody loves, but the Batmans, they're scared. And I work with both of them in those cities, and boy, they're that. You're right in the middle. You're this. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so. First off, in this whole run, Bloodhaven has just been nothing. Bloodhaven to me seems like it's a bunch of fucking flyboy freaks. Clean cut crew, steroid up now. Like, you don't really get anything of the normal people in Bloodhaven and why they'd even stay.
But I mean, I do want to give him some credit. This idea, I thought the idea with you're between the Batman and the Superman. Like, obviously he's trained by Batman, but also we know that Nightwing was inspired by Superman, and he's more hopeful than Batman. There's a decent.
Yeah, but she's saying it's the city, how he looks at him, and I don't even get that anymore.
But she's like, you're between Batman and that, I thought that was actually a good little analogy. So I want to give some credit where it's due.
Give that one bit of credit because this is all
the rest of this is nonsense. So what we're doing, this whole issue is a nothing burger of an issue.
Yeah, it is.
What we're going to do is we're checking in with each character and like side characters in the story. We're going to check in with Maggie, then we're going to go to Martian Manhunter interlude. Then we're going to check in with Melinda. And then we're going to go to
Melinda is putting things in. Melinda's done. She's leaving town. Audrey and her are leaving. I thought this would have happened before. He didn't have the time to do it. But she's just like, screw it. I lost that election, which again, what did that do? What did that election do to anything? We don't have this new mayor saying, we got to take this. We don't even know. You know what I mean?
This whole issue is all set up for the fireworks factory that presumably is going to come in the next issue. And so what we're doing here is we're checking in with all the characters of the book, wrapping up their B stories and getting ready for the finale. Except the big problem is we haven't seen hardly any of these characters.
No.
Like the whole Melinda election thing was like, it was mentioned a couple of times, then she just lost, and then that was it. And that was like a long time ago in real time, because we've had all these other side stories that came up in between. So I don't really. So we check in with Maggie. I don't care about any of this really. She didn't even really have any story here, so I don't know why we're doing this.
No, Maggie just says I had a case because you did play that, but then you push that aside. So she's just to be like, and then she doesn't thank him, but she does admit I had a case and I would have been fired. It would have ruined my career. I'm like, why? Why? This lady is a zombie. In the meantime, Bryce is there. We'll go with Bryce like quick. Bryce is there. He's been shot by Kryptonite. It's like they're doing nothing and they're all out of ideas. He's in a tech-looking bed that I don't know. Like, I think actually a tanning bed would help him better. I get him out in the sun.
He's Kryptonian.
He's got that. Get him and legit. By the end, you see what's going to happen, and what you do is, and this is going to be the way where I'll tell you, it's complete and utter bullshit. I already laughed that I said Nightwing could wake up and say, "Oh, that was a bad dream." Well, the next step of that would just be fifth dimension bullshit. Everything's going to be fixed. I'm telling you, there's going to be a wave of fifth dimensional energy that's going to go across Bloodhaven, and even things like Clean Cut Crew, Venom Up, and Flyboys, they'll be changed back to normal people. Everything will just be reset way. Yeah. And Bryce will not be, he'll just be Bryce again. And he'll say, man, I really wanted to be a hero. You are, buddy. You are. And then it'll be the end. That's all it'll be. And you know that. And when you get to it, though, how convoluted a way to get to it. But when you get Melinda come in and say, hey, we're going to get out of here. And then Nightwing, another reset is, I don't think Dan Waters loves the idea that Nightwing is a billionaire. Because he could do, it would be tough. I mean, anything that happens, you can sit there and say, well, Nightwing, what the fuck are you doing? You're a billionaire. You do this, but you don't want him to throw money at everything like Tom Taylor did. So in the meantime, at one point, I'm like, is he just saying that she's got like a separate card? Like, hey, I'm putting you on the account. You have your own debit card. I'm like, oh no, she's taking all of the Alfred money away. I'm like, what is he doing? Like the idea that I want like Jason to come and say, hey, buddy, I need like $50,000 you got. He's like, listen, I gave all the money. Melinda. He's like, what the fuck? And then if Alfred comes back, Alfred's like, yeah, where's my money? Oh, my sister, Melinda. What the fuck? Oh my God.
Sister, are you talking about?
My God, I don't even know what happened. Will somebody fill me in on this bullshit? But yeah, that's just like the weirdest way to get rid of that money. It's just like, I'll take it. And, but hey, she'll love it. Oh my God. Can you imagine walking out the room? You're going to click your fucking heels and then run to your girlfriend and get the fuck out before he changes his mind. But she says, you don't think you're going to come back. All right. Well, so maybe Batman would be the one.
And I'm not feeling any of this tension. I'm not feeling this, Nightwing's going to the point of no return. Like, I'm not getting that feeling.
Here's the funny thing. You say that when she says, you feel, it almost feels like it's like a Escape the Witch Mountain. You have something to say, don't you? You end up where it ends up.
It reminds me of like, I don't know, like a video game where you've completed all the side quests.
Like an NPC deal.
Like, you're going to the point of no return. Like are you sure you want to continue? Make sure you've completed all of their side quests.
Did you grab
first.
all of the quests?
That's what this is.
Did you? Is your inventory set? Yes, I'm ready.
That's what it is.
Yeah, because you feel like it feels like you don't think you're coming back. Do you? And he's like, whatever. They're also joking. He does have that joke where he says, she didn't just rip her nose off the spider face. She ripped her whole face off. And they laugh. And it's okay.
And I was like,
it was lame. It was great.
It was pretty lame.
In that, that's the deal. Also, I will give V-Ken. V-Ken is really, really going hard on the butt cheeks. But you end up where he's sitting. He's just sitting there with Oh, at one point,
I like his art. I like their art a lot better than Dexter Soy. We'll probably get roasted for that.
When he hands the file Steel of Alfred's over, those butt cheeks are solid. Holy shit! I think they're armored.
They are. I mean, you could bounce a quarter off those.
I don't care about America's ass. That is the universe's ass. Like that thing, the quarters would bend. So you end up where you're there. Also, I laugh too, is when Maggie comes in and goes, man, if the police knew I was talking to you in Titan's Tower, they would be real upset that I didn't arrest you. I'm like, well, what are they doing? Because where else would he be? That's where he's always been. Yeah, so then Barbara shows up.
They're not looking that hard.
And you do see this other kid. You see the kids. That's supposed to be the thing. But I'm not connecting with it to make me upset, like you said, with tension. But also, you have this thing with Barbara, who's then she has to say, oh, goodbye. Hey, Haley's going out. But Dick kind of seems very distant. But then the best is Barbara goes and almost a meta thing. Listen, I looked into all the times that Batman was number one enemy, enemy number one. Man, if Jesus Christ, they did it every fucking week. I wanted her to say they're doing it now in the Batman book. And she's like, but it gave me a little solace that we always work through. It is legit. One of the most cliched things in a Batman book, especially a Bat family book, is to have no vigilantes. The city's against you. And she's like, man, it's like, I went through and looked, and it's weird for her to say that because Dick Grayson lived through so much of that. That he was so did she. And so it was weird that she's like, I checked it out. And it wasn't world ending, except for Star. It just was kind of supposed to be goofy deal. Then Martian Manhunter shows up, and I'm like, the fuck is he doing? And even the setup is Nightwing goes, all right, you can come out now. Like as if this is something that happens all the time and that they're best buds. And I'm like, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. And it's Martian Manhunter. I'm like, oh, he's connecting him to the fifth dimension in a way that really isn't. But you need something, but you don't. You don't need this.
That's the big problem with it is that, Martian Manhunter has no connection with he's just a prop. He's just a prop that's here. He has his little interludes where he talks about there's something here that should not be. Like, it doesn't do anything. And then he's just here for the sole purpose of he's going to teleport Nightwing into the fifth dimension. That's not even something he can do.
No, it's not what he does. And if anybody argues with it, it isn't. He has at points had a deal in the fifth dimension or with imps that he uses his telepathy to talk to them. That's different. He doesn't make portals to the fifth dimension. It just doesn't work.
But you know who can? Nightmite, who shows up in this book as a little reminder. Oh, yeah, remember Nightmite's a thing that exists.
And you could just have him do it. Yeah, he could have that. Or, I mean, if you want to have guest stars like this and that's where you're going, you would use somebody like a Constantine. Or you would use a Zatanna. Or you would use somebody
he's a Titan. Use Raven.
Yeah, Raven.
Raven does portals all freaking time.
And Raven is empath type deal that would be able to feel that the city is losing it and the city is getting angry and things and could really play that out well. But instead you get Martian Manhunter that just does not feel like anything but a prop, like you said. And to have him say, again, when you said at the point, and it really, got me, the idea of, hey, you look like you're not coming back. And you said, I didn't feel any tension of that. And I said that, it felt like they were just saying that and it didn't really hit. When Martian Manhunter at the end, like all this going on, Barbara says, hey, I'm going to take Haley out for a walk. Hey, Boy Wonder, do this. Nightwing is not a guy. Now, in Tom Taylor, he had help. But you never thought, did you ever think with this Zani, in this story, that Dan Waters was going to have him gather an army to go fight the Zani? He's going to go fight the Zani alone. He's going to go in there. It's very personal to him with the circus. Again, the goofy circus. And also the Zani's whole MO of wanting the circus back, but now he wants this. Martian Manhunter says at the one point, they go through a rigmarole of, you know what? He uses the power of the people to go. So you know what that means? You're going to have to go alone. And I sat there, I'm like, what? Like if I'm, fuck yeah, I was planning on that. I never thought he wasn't. So it didn't hit. Just like that thing with Melinda. So he goes and he's like, yeah. And it becomes that you better get this done because this is bad. He keeps thinking about how this presence and all these things. And then out of nowhere, hey, what's that shit on the desk? That's Nightmite. He's a fifth dimensional imp made of soup now. I'm like, that's the worst description ever when he goes, he's soup now. And then Martian Manhunter says the wrong thing. He says interesting. What he should say is, what the fuck are you talking about? You high? But he's like, yeah, okay. And then just goes, not even taking him with. Like, oh, he's a fifth dimensional. Maybe take him with because you want to get him to the fifth dimension so he can be fine. Not even just the idea of helping you, but he's like, it is just an aside. It is like me and you are going to go and we're going to rob a bank. And we have all these things. And then we're leaving you like, oh, what's that? Oh, those are picking tools. And then we just leave it. We just go, interesting, and leave. Oh, that's a gun. Oh, interesting. Like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you?
It's just there to remind us.
It's an aside to go, yeah, because it'll be the big thing. Nightwing, Nightmite will have to save his buddy, and it'll be all that. And then he'll end up going off. But again, I don't feel any emotions. Then Martian Manhunter just makes this portal in his hand. And his thing is, we are trying to reach a place that should not be a place beyond the plane of reality. I'm like, okay, I think you're already above your pay grade here, Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
And he says, it's a thinly veiled just beyond reality, visible just in the dark of the corners of one's eyes. So we simply borrow the darkness from the corner of all their eyes. I'm sitting there. Somebody's like, where the fuck's the darkness in the corner of my eyes? Like, all of a sudden, I get the idea. The way he's saying is like, you think you see a ghost out of the side of your eyes, that weird shit, whatever. But they're just grabbing nonsense shit. Nightwing leaps in. You get a really good spread page of him going through, but it's reiterating everything again about, hey, I got to do this feeling. And they're actually having this overall narration of, look at him, he's smiling because he wants to do this. I'm like, there are kids that are dying at this point, but he's ready to flip and he likes it and he's smiling, but now he's got the danger. I'm like, get out of here. It's trying to be fancy in something that's just lame. He sees, this is the horrific part. He sees this little kid and then we see it's like a face of teeth. It's always faces with this. And it's like, oh my God, we are home. It's like, home? I have no home. And then you end up where he's like, oh no, I got to fight. And then the worst where you get Olivia, she shows up.
Palomino, Olivia Pierce.
And that's the worst.
She shows up.
He's like, Olivia Pierce? Sort of, I suppose. The idea of Olivia Pierce, what's left of Columbina, I'm like, nobody cares. This Columbina bullshit. And then
she's juggling her own head.
She's like, Zani wants to play a game with you. He's like, fucking Jigsaw. And he's like, game? It actually plays off a lot like war games. Shall we play a game? Game? All right, let's play global thermonuclear war. But yeah, and then she's tossing her fucking head around and shit like that, dancing. In the meantime, I'm like, what do the police think happened on that rooftop? And he's like, if you win, you get to take the kids home. If he wins, they all come here forever and ever and ever. I'm like, all right, this shit sucks. And then there's Martian. I thought Martian Manhunter was basically like, I guess I'm going to have to be Nightwing for a while. Like he's there like over the city, like fucking Batman. He's like, this is his city. Bloodhaven is a shithole, but Bloodhaven is so ill-defined in the last two full runs, even in the Rick Grayson. But the Rick Grayson, you got a little bit of stuff of how they thought of Rick Grayson. But overall, the whole idea of he's made it so fantastically ridiculous that who could react? I mean, they do legit show at one point backpack crew with venomed up shooting laser guns at RoboCop things, right?
And because we didn't because we had no focus on that. We never focused in on the city and the impact it's having to the people. It's supposed to feel like the pot is boiling over and everything has gone wrong. And there's only one way to stop it is for Nightwing to go on this crazy suicide mission, right? That's what this is clearly trying to do. But it doesn't feel like the pot is boiling over. No. We didn't spend any time with anything. We don't feel any stakes. We don't feel any tension. We're just magically poofing to the fifth dimension anyway. And I'm sure he's going to take care of business and poof back. And it's none of it feels impactful at all.
And it doesn't feel Nightwing to me, but it's impactful. No, it doesn't at all.
Right. And so, and a lot of that is, I think we talked a bit about it last time, but the idea I think of, I saw it described one time called storytelling collapse, where you just lose all, like, there's been too many little things that built up over time to the point where now you're not in the story, you're on the outside looking in. And so you just don't feel it. You're just not enjoying it. You're not buying into anything that he's trying to do. And so I think that's the point. I've been at this book for a few issues now. And so I'm just sitting here like, okay, let's fight the Zani.
Yeah, let's just fight the Zani and be done with it. And that was the thing. Like at the beginning, I wasn't really in from the beginning, but the idea, you had these, you said it, you got pulled in all these directions. You have weird gangs, then you had the Olivia Pierce stuff, then you end up where one of the big things was Bryce's brother dying, but then we go to Captain Hollow, which was really odd the way that spelled out the one issue. And then I think everybody thought one thing, oh, it's there to get the bad. Oh, it's there to get the good cops. It's like so weird. Even that, but then you get the Zani. But even at this point, one of the things that seemed to hit with some people were the idea that the Flyboys were like degrading. They were going to die. Nightwing almost gave up all his blood to save a couple of them, but then he was going to help. They just disappeared. Like they might
that stuff with the gangs and Spheric Solutions and the mechs and the city boiling over, like we're talking about. We've just abandoned that. I mean, that's
the funniest thing is you see that in one panel here, where you see that clean cut crew that now look like man bats. All that, like even that. How crazy did that get? Like the idea we didn't see them, and then suddenly they had man bat serum. They're doing this Venom. It looked like they're shooting laser guns at a RoboCop fucking robot, and it's like, man, the city, what are they gonna do? I'm like, yeah, this shit's all just gonna go away. And then again, though, I ended up telling you that we thought that the whole play was that it was going to get more grounded, but it's the next solicit just feels like it's Haunted Highway is what the new solicit is. So it's the same thing. But what would you give this?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, this issue's all set up for the fireworks factory, and it feels like it. We check in with all the characters of the book, but they haven't really been in the book much, and they certainly haven't been in it lately, so it feels disconnected. And really, this issue was kind of boring. The city is turning against Nightwing thing obviously isn't going anywhere and didn't make any sense and doesn't work anyway. So, I mean, in my mind, this was tailor-made for Sammy. This is a fuck you.
Oh my God, that's the funniest thing. I had that on cue. You'll have to guess which issue got it before because it was there. I was like, oh my God. Once I heard you going, I'm like, oh, I have it. That's cool. I'll go with you as well.
What the FU5 was made for.
I haven't had one in a while on 2 this week. So there you go. But we're going to get out of here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We did have it last week. So I'm kind of, ending the year. With
ending the year on a high note.
Exactly. But that is me and your books. There's not a lot of books. We're going to go off. I believe me and Matt Razor are going to be doing a bit of Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum, and also the Superman Unlimited. But that's about it for this week. I have to see. There's also a World Finest, but I haven't gotten a hold of Zach yet. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks for joining me as always, Brad.
My pleasure, sir.
And we will move on to what is next. Hey, everybody. Jim back here. And once again, I'd like to tell you about Comic-Con, The Cruise, the ultimate vacation for fans of comics, gaming, and all sorts of popular arts. It's a 5-day, a bunch of nonstop fandom, fun, panels, theme parties, all while sailing in the Caribbean. And boy, I would like to be sailing in the Caribbean right now. I've been sick for weeks. I can't stand the cold weather, and I kind of like comics. So why not go on a cruise where you can end up being in the Caribbean and also enjoy a Comic-Con without the normal trappings of a Comic-Con? Sweaty people, and they're bumping into each other, and then you still, at the end, you have to go outside, and it's cold and nonsense. Why not do it all on a cruise, which is something that I think is pretty cool, and it really is a Comic-Con on a cruise ship. And you go and you sail round trip from Tampa, Florida to Nassau, Bahamas on Celebrity Constellation from January 30th through February 3rd, 2026. And so, yeah, you get to go on a cruise. You get to, hobnob with all your favorite creators and all